to block the whole corridor, and Binlo hastily activated a spell from one of his rings to conjure an ice wall 1 meter, 3.3 feet, thick to stop the blast. Lith could have used the diversion to escape, but charged forward instead. He imbued the gatekeeper with water magic to conjure a cold aura and himself with earth magic. The combined effects were supposed to protect him from the brunt of the damage. The fire pillar crushed the shields and melted the ice, yet it still had enough power to turn Binlo's constructs into gas. Nalir gritted her teeth, activating once again the magic shield of her sword while her minions conjured more protections. Lith struck them from behind with the gatekeeper, overloading Nalir's sword core and interrupting the professor's spells. The barrier shattered and the explosion engulfed the 4 of them, but Lith made sure to stand right behind Nalir. With the barrier down, she could either protect herself from the blast or from him, but not from both. She would also become his human shield, making it a trade worth Lith's while. Lith released all the spells he had ready, only to see them crushed by Nalir's glove. Its magic could be used as a sword but also as a shield. Then, the blast struck them and the 4 mages were slammed against the walls. As soon as the smoke dissipated, the corridor was peaceful again. Farg was satisfied with the results of her sneak attack. Every enemy was down and accounted for. There was just one thing that didn't add up. "Why didn't you run away?" she asked Lith. "Throwing yourself in the middle of my spell was incredibly dumb. You could have Despite Solus's force field and light fusion, Lith's ears were still ringing. Solus had no such problem allowing him to understand what was happening and cut Farg short. "Don't let her recover, you idiot. She's the mastermind." Lith pointed at Nalir's body. Only then Farg reactivated life vision, noticing that Lith and Nalir both were getting stronger by the second, their wounds closing at a speed visible at the naked eye. "Another awakened one? This is a nightmare." Farg unleashed all the spells she had left, but it was too little and too late. Nalir raised her iron glove, hitting Farg with a series of shockwaves which crushed her attacks and sent Farg sprawling on the floor, bleeding from the nose, ears, and mouth. "Seems it's just the 2 of us again, dear Lith." Nalir smiled without stopping to use invigoration. Lith was still sitting on the floor. Clearly the blast had somehow dealt him more damage than she had expected. Lith took a deep breath. Talking was cheap while spells spoke loudly. "Arise." He carefully avoided breaking his use of invigoration, while all the fallen one rose on their feet to serve their master. As soon as Kyla was freed from the slave ring, her mind collapsed under the weight of her actions. Ever since the previous weekend, her life had turned into a nightmare. The moment she wore the ring, she had been under Nalir's thumb. She had fought the ring's influence the whole time, yet her struggle didn't prevent her from feeling Journey's blood and guts cover her hands nor Uriel's flesh tear up like paper under the enchanted blade. Kyla stopped struggling. She broke into tears while desperately trying to apologize. Meanwhile, Freya was already deadly pale. Regenerating Journey's heart and lungs also required her to share part of her life force to prevent her mother from dying of weakness. How the F***ck does Lith to make it always look so simple? She inwardly cursed. She was doing alone something that the Academy trained her to do with 2 teams of 3 persons. She had betrayed her family, her friends. How could I be so stupid to wear an enchanted item without even knowing what it did? She thought in hindsight. None of the group had ever heard about slave items, otherwise Lith would have warned them. Even his paranoia could do nothing against what he was unaware of. Kyla joined Freya, giving her life force to both women to help them to recover. Floria and Orion understood what had happened, but there was no time for mourning their loss. They stood guard against the chaos surrounding them, blocking anyone that could threaten the ongoing treatment. For Orion they were just kids, for Floria were familiar faces she had seen every day for the past 2 years. Yet they killed them nonetheless. Only death awaited those who ignored their warning and entered the range of their spells. Journey regained her sense, coughing out the blood that had invaded her lungs. What happened? Her mind immediately recalled the events leading to her near-death experience. The wound was deep, yet I feel good. Too good. Lady Erna's swiftly struck Kyla's stomach, making her faint and preventing her suicide attempt. "My poor child, what have they done to you?" Journey hugged her daughter's small body and kissed her head. Kyla was reduced to a pale husk. Her skin was deadly cold. Journey stood up, letting her family embrace her. There was relief in their faces and warmth in their touch, but no joy in the reunion. Watching Uriel's corpse, Journey knew there had never been a chance to save them both. She could tell by looking at the guilt in Floria's eyes that it was her taking an impossible decision in the heat of the battle. "I don't know if Floria or Kyla will be able to live with what happened today. I can't do anything to change the past. The only thing I can do is to make Floria's choice matter." Following her directives, Freya stored Uriel's corpse in her dimensional amulet. They wouldn't let anyone harm him anymore. Then, she had Floria open a warp steps to the forest, to send the girls to safety.